I got
So
my
I
great
guess
stuff.
we were talking about the the first two chapters of Second Chance. And you were talking about what you heard, what you saw.
That Jonathan tells Richard about past trauma, like what we all call PTSD now, as that it's an illusion, and that it's only present in your memory and in your thoughts, and you don't have to put so much emphasis on it. And I was saying that I have a problem with all the labels that they give people, because then it's like a badge and more like a ball and chain that they carry around. You know, and although have compassion for them, if you say, well, you're this, you're that, all these labels, then people attach themselves to that, and that's not what they are. And it's so hard to explain, but I've heard so much on it. And like I said, the book, the first two chapters, really gets into that, about it's an illusion, it's gone, it doesn't need to come with you. And I wish people, you know, I just see that PTSD is thrown around so much, and they give people pharmaceuticals for it that don't work. Everybody's trying to, you know, it's an excuse for behavior. And my theory, in which probably is what I've heard on 3Ps too, and even before that, I kind of figured that out, that all these labels they give people they're just different behaviors. Let's say bipolar, BPD, PTSD, whatever. They're a set of behaviors that we're all human, so we're all part of the same thing. They're a set of behaviors that a certain subset of has adopted to deal with their pain or whatever, their thoughts not being present. And so the psych world is just labeling it. Instead of just, I don't know, I'm probably not explaining that well, but that's how people that feel that way are going to act that way. It doesn't mean that they have a disorder or, you know, I mean, I used to believe all that you're an alcoholic and this kind of stuff, all these labels. And I've heard a lot of 3P people that say one thought and then it's gone, you know, that once you see that it's a habit and it's a pattern, a behavior pattern, and you're not stuck with it. You know, even if you had a bad childhood and all that kind of thing, that was then. And that sounds too cliche, but you have to get it to understand it. You have to see it. That's the other thing Jonathan's talking about. You have to see it. When I'm explaining stuff to my boyfriend, he'll just look at me like and roll his eyes, and I'll say, oh, okay, you have to see it before you'll understand it. I said, hopefully one day. And I even told him about this is the one book I got him to read, The Second Chance. And I want him to read it again, because I said, wow, I was really surprised. I said, for Lori's class, I'm reading the first two chapters, and it had everything I told you about PTSD, because his son, you know, has been diagnosed with that. And I said, you should read it again. I said, it doesn't tell everything, but it has a lot about how it's an illusion, you know. And I don't know how much he's hearing. He just goes along with everything I say, because he knows better. He's not going to win an argument. But you know, you can't argue with it. He has to see it and he has to hear it.
Right. That's so true, that unless you experience it yourself, it's not going to make sense at all. It's just going to be a lot of words.
Right.
And not really register for people unless they have the experience firsthand. And then you realize, wow, that is the way it works. I just had that experience.
And it's hard for me to grasp sometimes. But, you know, I used to get depressed and thinking bad. And now, you know, I just kind of, and I'm not always, you know, 100% or whatever, but I'm like, nah, it will pass. I don't get so involved and, oh my God, you know, I mean, I literally used to wake up in the morning and go, I feel icky, so I'm gonna feel icky all day long. And then you're like holding on to it, like, and that's horrible. Why would you do that? You know, because sometimes when I get tired, I get crabby, and I'm like, you know, you don't have to act on this feeling. Just shut up and don't tell the boyfriend how much he's bugging you, because really it's me and I'm just in a low mood. That's what the cool part about the mood,
Yeah.
you know, moods and stuff. It's just like, this will pass. And I've learned a long time ago, but more so now, is just at night when I get tired, everything looks different, everything. And so I'm always like, oh, thank goodness there's tomorrow. Because this too shall pass, you know. But
Yeah. That's so
yeah,
great that you saw that in the first two chapters. I mean, there's only like 12 pages is the first two chapters, that the past doesn't exist.
yeah.
It doesn't even exist. You know, I don't have my book. I have it up in my bedroom because I'm reading it again in preparation for the class before I go to sleep. But if you have it in front of you, is there a few sentences that you might have marked? Like I use a pencil and I just.
I'm always afraid to mark up my books. If they're already marked, I will, but that's an old behavior.
Yeah, right. I put an arrow, you know, like to highlight a certain sentence. But what I remember is, you know, what really struck me is how we go in and out of our thinking. Like a
Yeah.
thought will only last a millisecond if we don't work it, if we don't hang on to it and investigate it and put energy into it. It doesn't last very long. It's quickly replaced by another thought that we have no idea what that next thought will be either, right? But
Yeah.
it's fascinating how that works.
And I just thought of something when I always tell you I'm trying to preach to the boyfriend. A lot of stuff, he has one of those people that's naturally kind of has a 3P philosophy. He just doesn't know it. But he's told me, like, he's totally against, back before I knew about 3Ps, and I'd say we should go to couples counseling and all that. And he's like, no. Everything will be my fault. And I go, no, I don't think so. Anyway, he said, I guess, and I thought he'd gone when he was a kid, but he had a horrific childhood. But someone got him to go to therapy, you know, probably 20 years ago. And he went and he said, ask the guy, you know, should I talk about, you know, what happened in my childhood? And the therapist, thank God, said, why would you want to go back and revisit that? Can you believe it? And I've always remembered that. And I told him, I said, you are so lucky that
Right. Yeah.
because he's one of those. I used to, when I was not doing well, I would like, why is he all the next day? He's like, oh, he's forgot everything that's happened. It's a brand new day. And I'm like, how annoying. So I thought that, what a gift that therapist knew 3Ps and didn't know it. And
Yeah.
but yeah, so no, I don't remember exactly where he was. Just Jonathan's always chewing him out.
Jonathan's always chewing Richard out. I like that. That's funny. Pointing him in a different direction, right?
Exactly. Now that I see it, when he tells him he's a fool, you know, Richard. In fact, it does kind of remind me. I'm the know-it-all, and the boyfriend's the calm one. That's like, well, yeah, because Richard thinks he's all educated. I mean, yeah, Richard thinks he's all educated and knows everything, and then Jonathan tells him, what a fool, you don't know anything. And he's like, what? But then he gets that feeling, and that's what half the time I can't remember the words. That's why I went back and read it to see if I missed anything about what you were saying, the who and what we are in divine love. And you know, and I've heard that before, but not in these first two chapters. And so I went back and did I miss it? Because I wanted to do my homework.
Actually, it may not have been in those exact words.
Right.
You know what? You can really pair come up with any sentence. Like, the first theme was listening. The second theme is who we really are at a spiritual level. There's one of the themes is on separate realities. You could pick any one of those and find reference to that, maybe not direct reference, but there's going to be reference to that you can find. I'd be willing to bet,
Yeah.
that's how it goes, because I know he didn't say it specifically that we are this love underneath our thinking, but I love the way he'll illustrate it in Second Chance. And the illustration to me is when Richard gets all caught up. Oh, Joe Waller is coming in. Not sure.
Okay.
I think Joe is like many hours ahead or behind us.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. We'll find out. But she's still connecting with audio, so I'll just continue this sentence. Is that the way he illustrates it, that one moment they're looking at the beautiful scene, and the next moment Richard gets all caught up in his head, going into the past. Like, he'll see these couples holding hands, and it reminds him of the loss of his wife, so then he's up in his head. And then another moment, he's noticing the natural beauty in front of him. So, it's just such a great illustration of how we go in and out of our experience, depending on what thinking we're in the moment.
I'm glad it's not just me.
Not right, exactly. It's everybody. And I want to say hi to Joe. Hey, Joe. There you are.
Yeah, here I am. I'm in bed. I'm sorry.
Well, what time is it there?
It's a bit after. It's 4:30. I'm sorry, I'm a bit late.
It's so nice to meet you. 4:30.
I set the alarm and then I fell asleep. Yeah.
Wait, 4:30 a.m. or p.m.?
A.m.
A.m.
Yeah, that's why Tuesday's a better day, but I couldn't do it.
Wow. Where are you? What country are you in?
I'm in Australia.
You're in Australia.
Wow. On the East Coast.
You're on what?
I'm on the East Coast.
On the East Coast.
Yeah. So I don't know whether you know. Have you been here? So
I've not been to Australia.
Yeah. So if you know the map, then I'm on the East Coast, about 2 hours drive north of Sydney. So
where is Perth? The only place in Australia I know is Perth, because John and Ronnie Woods live in Perth, Australia, and they were in the first professional training that the Pranskys did in 1994. That's where I met them.
Yeah, look, I know John. I know John.
Oh, you do?
Woods. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Perth is so wonderful.
Perth is on the West Coast, so that's like I'm on the East Coast, so it's Perth is as far away from me as New York is from San Francisco. So that's how far it is. Yeah.
3 hours difference as far as time zone.
Oh no,
goes.
it's actually even more. It's actually longer. So yeah.
Wow.
How do you
way across the other side? Yeah.
How did you run
across? It's a huge place.
John?
Like it's a huge. Pardon?
How did you run across John Woods in Perth?
You know what? I went specifically looking for John Woods online. After I read Jack Pransky's book about the history of the principles. What did he call it? Paradigm shift, I think it is.
Yeah. Yes.
And he went
Paradigm
right
shift.
through all the different kind of ups and downs. And I loved that because up until then, I'd read Syd's stuff that I could get, and I used to listen to this show that was on the radio, not radio, but on the internet, from the UK. And I heard a woman on that who mentioned a book that was by Linda, never
Queering?
sure, Queering, yeah. Queering, yeah, and called The Island of Knowledge.
Yeah.
And this woman, Janet, her name was, she mentioned that book. So I read that, and then she put another one out, and then Jack Pransky did the introduction to the second book, and and from that I read some of his stuff. So, and he put out, I got really interested in, I think it was good for me to hear, really good for me to hear about the history of it, how it all worked, because that made it seem more real to me. The fact that what you were just, and I just caught the tail end of what you were saying then about the guy, the character Richard in the book, going in and out of his thinking, in and out of his, like that whole, what you were saying, Sharon.
In and out of his experience of life, his awareness.
Yeah.
Right.
For me, like, I just hadn't, I wanted the principles to seem real, to seem not just people in a sort of in their good, I don't know, it was like, I needed to hear like the ups and downs. I needed to hear the real, like the rubber on the road, or see it, and that there were real people who had ups and downs, and Syd himself had ups and downs. And I just needed, because that wasn't really talked about that much. And even if it was quick, even if he was in and out very quickly, at least he was a real guy who had emotions, and who kind of had that experience, and saw what he saw, but he experienced what everyone experiences, like. So anyway, that was really good. That was good.
Cool. Yeah, he's still human like the rest of us. And are you familiar with this quote of his, something to the effect of, if people could just get if people
weren't afraid of their experience,
with their experience, people could just not be afraid. That's what it is. If people would just not be afraid of their experiences, live in a different world. So what you said is exactly, it feeds into that. That's so interesting. That paradigm shift helped you realize, that people still go through their ups and downs. We all do. We just don't stay in the downs as long. We're more resilient. We're exercising our resiliency because we know enough not to make more of the downs than we have to. We don't have to make it.
Exactly. But they're there. I mean, we all have those experiences, and we can kind of see what's going on. You see what's going on. But anyway, it was really helpful. And I know that at the time when he wrote that book, Jack Pransky, I know that it wasn't like, he even says in the introduction, I think, that some people didn't think he should have written that, but for me, it was so helpful. So I am very, very grateful that he wrote that. So
nice.
yeah.
That's
Anyway,
really
I know it's not talking about second chance, what you wanted to. Yeah, I didn't get to do my top-up reading, but I will. Like, I've read it a few times, but I will reread again. So
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? In every
yeah,
new reading, we'll see something we hadn't noticed before.
but
Yeah.
I'm happy to listen to you guys anyway. It's lovely to meet you, both of you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. You too.
Yeah, you two have not met before, have you? Sharon's in Northern California,
Okay.
where all the fires are.
So there's fires there at the moment.
Yeah, there's two halfway big ones. They're on their way out though, thank God, but they've been burning for quite some time. A lot of problems with the air quality. Really sad. One near Lake Tahoe, that one's almost gone, but there's one that's been burning, I think, almost 2 months, that further up north from me. So, but it's getting better, and today we have good air quality, and I almost feel bad complaining about the air quality because I'm not on fire. So
Yeah, look, I understand that, because we get really bad fires here, and
oh, I have seen that. Oh yes, yeah.
like a couple of summers ago, it was burned almost the entire East Coast.
I remember that. Being terrified about that. Yeah. I have to stay off the internet because I start reading nowadays you can get all the play-by-plays and the videos, and I'm like, there's nothing I can do about it. So, but it's sad.
I know, yeah, but it's
See, that's beautiful. That's your wisdom. That lets you know enough. There's no reason for me to keep listening to these horrible weather stories and these horrible things. If I can't do anything about it, what's the use in being bothered by it and upset by it?
You're right, aren't you? I feel like that at the moment with all the virus information, even though I kind of need to know of some of the information, so I listen to what I need to know, because we're in lockdown here.
Oh wow. Is this your second lockdown or the first?
Well, it's a second, really. We had the first was last year, and I thought, and Australia, I think, was got a bit complacent, and we thought we kind of missed, kind of, I don't really know. I have a few different ways of thinking about it, but but one of them is what you were saying about the fires, Sharon. I just turn it on to hear what I need to know, so what I need to do or not do, and then I don't listen anymore, because there's so much. At the moment, there's this huge big thing about whether you should or shouldn't be vaccinated, and people are being really awful to each other.
Here too. It's not political, and it's
even past political. It's just meanness. It's just people being mean, and
you're right.
And there's this us and them thing going on. So it's like really polarizing, and it's kind of right across the board. It's beyond the politics now. It's just, there's a majority of people who are being vaccinated. I'm not in that majority. I'm in the minority. So I haven't been, and I'm not anti-vax. I just don't want to be vaccinated for this. I just felt it was an internal no not to do it. I do have a few things, like I'm healthy, but I've got a few, I get really weird allergies to things, but I'm healthy, and I stay healthy by avoiding those things, and I just don't want to go down that path. So I'm just going to stay, and I don't tell people, like you two, like in America, you like over there in the US, you're like one of two of, I think there's now like a dozen people across the world that might know that I'm not vaccinated, and most of those people aren't in Australia. So I'm going to try and just be careful, and which is what I do, and and just see what, and just, I think it feels right to do that. So I'm kind of listening to that voice rather than the other voices. but there's a lot of vitriol. It's really venomous, actually. And I kind of try not to have too much thinking about that. I people, a lot of those people are speaking from fear and are probably saying what they think, coming from where they think is right for them. So
Exactly. I mean, isn't it an amazing example of separate realities?
Yep. Yep.
totally.
One
Totally.
camp, the yes to the virus, to the vaccine camp, they think that is the accurate thinking that everybody should have. And the
Yeah.
opposite is true of the no camp. They think
Yeah.
everybody should have that thinking. And
Yeah.
if the
Yeah.
two opposing factions could just see, everybody's entitled to follow the thinking that that's free will.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
We're all have the gift of free will.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I and it's not even as if everyone who's being vaccinated is being vaccinated for the same reason, and everyone who's not being vaccinated is not being vaccinated. There's all these different reasons. What seems to be happening, though, is that these really loud voices in both sides,
There's really what on both sides?
they're the ones that people are focusing on. They're not really looking at, well, some people are not getting, for health reasons, are getting vaccinated, and some people for health reasons aren't getting vaccinated. Some people for philosophical reasons. You might be a conscientious objector. I'm kind of a bit of that too, but it's not the main thing. But it's partly that, a little bit of that, but not the main thing. But there's a lot of different reasons, but there's this, everyone's sort of getting lumped into the same thing, so yeah, so it's totally separate realities. It's
Yep.
all these different, and it's really polarizing, and it's
not coming from love.
It's really it's not fun.
People are not coming from love and understanding.
Not at all.
Coming
and
from expectation.
I'm trying to kind of, because we're trying to see it from all sides and see it also from that place. But at the same time, I'm not going to go out and put my hand on the hot stove. I'm not going to, unless there's a reason to sort of, I'm not going to stand up and get walloped, I'm just going to keep my stay under the radar and not do anything illegal or anything like that, but just stay under the radar.
Stay under the radar. I like that. Yeah.
Because I don't want to get into the fight, to me, I don't need to enter the fight of it. I will speak my kind of, if I need to, I'll kind of say my truth, speak my truth, and just leave it at that, I think. Right. If it comes to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's common sense, right? That's reeks of wisdom to me.
I hope so. Does it sound like common sense? I hope it is.
No, I'm glad you explained it, because I've been noticing myself with all, like you said, everything that's going on, and you want to be judgmental about somebody. And I always I just lately reminded myself, everybody, I believe what I believe. So everyone believes, they truly believe that, and they have, like you have all sorts of different reasons, and I actually respect that, and I get it. And I like that, because now that makes me more open to, because sometimes I'm well, why don't they get the vaccine? Because I'm starting to wonder too. And I've had mine. So I love hearing your what you've said about that. And it sounds true. I mean, I obviously it's right for you. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
applaud you for making that decision because you needed to, your wisdom told you that. So that's kind of cool. I
Yeah.
like that.
yeah. And I appreciate that, because I appreciate a lot of, why people have chosen to have it. And that totally would be the right thing for them. I hope that they didn't do it from a place of fear. I hope that they did it for their own right reasons. And even if they did it from that place, then that would be right for them in the time, isn't it? It's because we all, that we all think we're making the best decision. We all hope we're making the best decision we can in the moment. And and I'm not saying either that my, something might change for me down the track. So it's not like it's set in stone. It's just how it is at the moment. And I'm not anti-vaccine. If I cut my finger on or stepped on a rusty nail, I would have a tetanus injection. I've had one anyway. My booster is up to date, so I won't get tetanus if I step on a nail tomorrow. But see, so I'm not an anti-vax. It's just this one just did not feel right for me to do. And so I'm listening to that.
Good for you. Yeah, because I had a lot of questions and I kind of went with the crowd and had it done. And I'm still questioning, like they're trying to push a booster. And I'm like, my boyfriend's, oh, I'm going to get it right away. And I'm kind of like,
Yeah, so you guys are up to boosters. Most of us are like, there's in Australia, like we've got a certain percentage have had two, but
right.
Mostly people have just got round to having one.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
If they've had it, most
If
people
you've-
have, well, I guess a lot of people haven't, but around me, most people have
Yeah.
had the two. And I'm not even eligible for the booster thing. I'm kind of happy that I'm not, because I kind of wonder,
Yeah.
So like
I just say
I
listen to
applaud
what your body is telling you. And then if you get this sense that, yeah, I should go and have that, then have it, so
you.
it's
Right.
not like, it's just what you need to do for yourself.
Yep.
And
Trust
we
your
were
own
just
wisdom.
talking about that before you came on, Joe. Sharon and I were talking about knowing what foods our body needs.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
phenomenal to me that you don't have to, and I was doing this for a while because I was gaining weight and there was no reason for it. I even thought maybe there's a tumor growing somewhere because this is a quick weight gain and my diet hasn't changed. So I took blood tests and all of these things, and I was told not to eat tomatoes because that's creating an allergen, which creates a leaky gut. And I mean, I didn't really study all of this, so I don't really understand it all. But now I just I know what I think a lot of it is we get a taste for something, and I've been getting a taste for healthy things.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
eating a pickle.
I'm with you
Pickles
totally
are
on that score.
probiotics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I grew
Isn't
up.
that interesting?
Yeah. I grew up on a farm in northwest New South Wales, and we had grew our own stuff, but we also had sheep and everything. And I grew up, we ate our own produce, but I'm a vegan now, so I just had this sense to go that way. And again, that was something listening to, and I do what you say, like I get a taste for things. And so I will explore that for a while. And then sometimes my taste will change and
Yeah.
I will I'll try other combinations. And and I've just found that is the right thing to do for me. So I could have just been vegetarian, but I kind of went the whole way, and we had dairy, we had cow, we used to milk a cow and have, everything. But I've had all that, but anyway, for now, I just, that's the path. Yeah. So
That's a lot of work trying to
so
get
I
all your
totally,
nutrients. Huh? Because I've
yeah,
been
look,
trying to lead that way.
it's not so hard, actually. Yeah, I
No?
find it's not so hard. I just live like I have a really simple diet, and I kind of, again, it's kind of just following like what you get a taste for, and it seems to be working out. So I feel
Nice.
pretty healthy. Yeah.
Oh, good.
So
Well, it sounds
anyway,
to me like you do the same thing, Sharon.
Kinda, yeah. I'm not vegan, but yeah, I definitely eat simple, very simple and clean. But I
Yeah.
eat chicken. Though.
yeah.
That's my
Yeah, no, I
deal.
think that's fine. Like I grew up with that, so
Yeah,
so it's all, again, it's very individual. Like, it's like what your body is calling you to do,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's no right or wrong.
It's
you
kind
know?
of fun when you figure that out, huh?
Yeah.
So now you've given me some impetus to look into that more. I have someone that sent me, my registered dietitian had sent me a whole thing on that, and then I got sick, so I forgot about it, about veganism and vegetarian stuff. And it's kind of fun to give you a guide, I know some of it is intuitive, but yeah, very.
Yeah, I really think that your intuition is something just to really trust in that area.
Yeah,
Like you were saying, and what you were saying, Laurie.
Yeah.
Because that's what your wisdom. That's your wisdom. So your body
Right.
will let you know.
yeah.
And you might eat something and you feel discomfort, and then you think, okay, let's listen to that. In fact, the simpler your diet is, the more you'll see, the more you'll feel
Yeah,
what's right and what's wrong for you. And
definitely.
combinations of things too make a difference too sometimes. So,
Yep.
anyway, I think you just kind of ask. If you just ask, you kind of can ask your body. Yeah. Yeah, it
Well,
has
you got
inherent
some
wisdom.
You have a lot of confidence in your wisdom. I like that.
Yeah, I like, I've never really thought that I do, but there you go. I sound like I do. I don't know it, but it feels right. Like it, you get a feeling for what. Yeah.
I love that confidence and wisdom, right? I mean, isn't that valuable? That we have that. We tap into that. We're part of that. The wisdom of nature.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
that, isn't it? It is that.
Yeah.
And when you need other things, we're both wearing glasses, like we need a physical aid or something to help us, and you kind of recognize that you need that, so.
Yeah. And we also have the wisdom when it's time to consult with someone.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. I remember one talk, I don't know what it was on. You would probably know, Laurie, where and maybe it's been said a few times on different things, but that Syd Banks was talking with, giving a talk, and that someone from the audience asked him something to do with about their health, or something was going on, and he thought about it for a while, and then he said to the person, I think you really need to go and see a doctor about that. So it was like really kind of like, okay, it's time to go and,
Yeah.
So when to consult, it's important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Ladies, it's the top of the hour and I gotta go for my next client. But
I'm sorry I came in late, but it's lovely kind of
I'm
meeting you.
so glad you came. I'm so
Yeah.
glad, Joe. It's so great to meet you finally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
finally, after all this time.
You contributed a lot. You came in at the perfect time, right when you showed up.
Yeah, well, I've
Is